Having dual protagonists in a game could be pretty risky because one story could be good and the other could be absolutely bad. But when it's done right, it could possibly be one of the best things that ever happened in gaming. So today, as usual, I'm going to be checking out some of these games with dual protagonists and check out whether they are good or bad. Well, I'll start with one of my favorite games of all time, which is Resident Evil 2 Remake. Oh, come on, you all know it's better than the original, come on! Now, Resident Evil 2 Remake is a 2019 survival horror game developed and published by Capcom, and it is a ground-up remake of the classic 1998 PlayStation game of the same name. It was initially released on the PS4 and the Xbox One and the PC, then later released on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S, and even the Nintendo Switch. The game has two protagonists, which are Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield. Now, the game takes place in September 1998, 2 months after the events of the original Resident Evil, and a viral outbreak caused by the T-virus created by the Umbrella Corporation turned the citizens of Raccoon City into flesh-eating zombies and grotesque mutants. Like I said, there are two protagonists, and each got their own interwoven campaigns, often referred to as Scenario A and Scenario B, and you could choose who you want to start as, Leon S. Kennedy or Claire Redfield. Leon is a rookie police officer arriving in Raccoon City for his first day on the job, and Claire Redfield is a college student who travels the city searching for her missing brother, Chris Redfield. Now, like I said earlier, you could choose whether protagonist to play as. You could start as Claire and play Leon as the second one, or do the complete opposite. And I mean, it doesn't really matter that much who you start with. I mean, in my opinion, I think that Claire's story is the main story because it's better than Leon's. But I started with Leon and just played Claire's second run, and it's just a harder, simplified version of Claire's Scenario A. The way that this game handled having two protagonists in the remake and the original is just amazing. The game is highly replayable because of that, and you never get bored whatsoever. I love how if you played like Leon's A, then go to Leon B after finishing both scenarios, you'd see how simplified it got and how hard it got, and the same for Claire. I loved how we got to meet each other in some random ass places, and the gameplay is super fun. So let's talk about the stories. As I said, Leon was a rookie cop and it was just his first day. Crazy start, to be honest. He goes to the police station and finds it zombified, a huge monster chasing him and a busty Asian beauty taking over his mind. I mean, his story is kinda generic, like just the protagonist finding that an outbreak happened and just trying to stop it. While Claire's is more unique in my opinion because it started as you searching for your missing brother, going through the police station, then escaping it and finding a little kid who's the daughter of the creator of this virus, and an adventure starts with her. First of all, she gets kidnapped by a fucking predator, but thank God you saved her and watched this predator getting deep-throated. Then she gets infected by the virus and now our whole mission is to just save her. So then the campaigns are the same, going through the Umbrella facility or whatever, but Leon is trying to take the medicine or whatever to save the world, and Claire is just trying to help Sherry. But at the end of the game, Leon helps Claire to protect Sherry from all of this and get them both the hell out of Raccoon City. And honestly, such a nice story. I don't think there was any time that I got bored of this game, whether I'm replaying it or just playing it for the first time. I think this game is truly one of a kind, and Capcom really did a good job on the remake and the original game. Now I'm going to be talking about another great sequel, and that is God of War Ragnarok. It is a 2022 action-adventure game developed by Santa Monica Studio and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It serves as a sequel to 2018's God of War and the epic conclusion to the Norse era of the series. It was initially released for the PS4 and PS5, but it was later brought to the PC. Now the game picks up roughly 3 years after the events of the previous game, and now it's Fimbulwinter, a great winter that spans 3 consecutive summers, and it is drawing to a close, which means the beginning of Ragnarok. So Kratos and his now teenage son Atreus are trying to stay hidden in Midgard, but the vengeful Freya and Aesir gods, especially Thor and Odin, inevitably force their hand. The story revolves around Atreus searching for answers about his identity as Loki and his supposed role in Ragnarok, while Kratos struggles to protect his son and avoid repeating the blood-soaked mistakes of his past. Now, the biggest shift in Ragnarok is that Atreus is now a fully playable protagonist with his own dedicated chapter characters, and it being distinct from Kratos' gameplay, you alternate between their perspectives as the story unfolds. Kratos, who is now considered the heavy brawler, he plays largely the same as in 2018 but with vastly expanded toolkits. He starts the game with both the Leviathan Axe and the Blades of Chaos, and his combat is grounded, brutal, and relies on heavy crowd control, parrying, and elemental damage. Later in the game, he acquires the Draupnir Spear, a brand new weapon that specializes in wind magic, range detonation, and stunning enemies, and just like the other two weapons, it's a ton of fun to use. Now let's talk about Atreus, the agile marksman. When you play as him, the pacing shifts entirely. He relies primarily on his talon bow for ranged attacks and uses it as a blunt weapon in close quarters. He is much faster and more acrobatic than Kratos, dodging and weaving through enemies rather than blocking heavy hits, and instead of the traditional Spartan rage, Atreus' rage meter allows him to physically shapeshift into a wolf or even a bear to maul enemies. And my favorite thing in this game is the story handoffs, because they were completely driven by the widening rift between the father and son and switching back and forth through a few key moments. These shifts weren't random, they mirrored the deteriorating trust between Kratos and Atreus. Atreus was secretly hunting for clues about his identity as Loki because he discovered a giant mural predicting Kratos' death and wanted to stop it, and Kratos, terrified of losing his son and reverting to his old bloodthirsty Spartan days, suffocated Atreus with strict boundaries. I mean, almost every perspective shift happens right after a massive argument or something boiling over. The handoffs were usually at Sindri's house, using sleep, sneaking out, or sudden departures as the bridge. Now, the first time you take full control of Atreus happens unexpectedly. After returning from a stressful mission, Atreus goes to bed in his quarters, and instead of the game waking you up as Kratos in the next morning, the camera pans to Atreus sneaking out in the dead of the night with Sindri to visit the World Serpent. The second change happened after Kratos fiercely reprimanded Atreus for hiding things, and Atreus, frustrated, retreats to his room to clear his head, but he accidentally falls into a deep magical trance and wakes up inside of Ironwood, a vibrant hidden pocket of Jotunheim. There, he meets Angrboda and spends hours learning about giant lore, skipping stones and riding yaks, while Kratos is left back in the real world sick with worry and furious. Now, the third and most dramatic and important change was following an explosive argument where Atreus feels completely trapped by Kratos' lack of trust. So Atreus' emotions boil over, he accidentally transforms into a bear and snaps at Kratos and runs away through a mystic gateway. He decides that his only choice is to accept an open invitation Odin gave him and travel straight into Asgard to play a double agent. Once Atreus arrived in Asgard, the game effectively split into two entirely different genres running side by side. Atreus' perspective felt like a high-stakes espionage thriller. You are exploring Odin's compound, dealing with the terrifyingly casual and manipulative All-Father, piecing together a magical green mask, navigating a fragile friendship with Thor's daughter while dodging a hostile Heimdall. But Kratos' perspective, on the other hand, felt heavy, somber, and grounded. The game shifts back to Kratos sitting in an empty house, visibly depressed and quiet, and he is forced to team up with Freya, Brock, and Sindri to figure out a rescue plan. I really enjoyed the game and enjoyed the fact that they are now experimenting with God of War, not just making it about pure rage and madness, but actually trying to make God of War something deeper than that. Now I'll talk about Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Oh boy. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is a 2015 action-adventure game developed by Ubisoft Quebec and published by Ubisoft. It serves as the 9th major installment in the mainline series, stepping out of the French Revolution and dropping players directly into the height of the Industrial Revolution. Now, the game takes place in London 1868. The Industrial Revolution is at its absolute peak, creating an era of incredible technological advancement but also severe economic oppression. The city is completely controlled by the Templars and led by a ruthless Grand Master named Crawford Starrick, who commands London's industries, infrastructure, and underground street gangs. You follow Jacob and Evie Fry, twin assassins who arrive from the countryside to overthrow the Templar regime. Their strategy is entirely unique to the series. Instead of fighting strictly from the shadows, they decide to dismantle the Templars' criminal empire by building their own underworld street gang called the Rooks. Just fucking bullshit. Now, Syndicate allows you to swap between two playable heroes freely while exploring the open world, each offering a contrasting approach to the narrative and combat. Jacob Fry is a hot-headed, charismatic, aggressive character that prefers direct physical confrontation and has a skill tree that leans heavily into raw damage. He usually drives the gang warfare side of the story, while Evie Fry is tactical, disciplined, and deeply dedicated to the assassin lore. Evie prefers stealth, planning, and tracking down ancient artifacts. Her unique upgrades focus on remaining completely undetected, including a skill that makes her virtually invisible when standing still. Now, I can talk shit about this game all day long, but I'll only tell you this. Story shit, character shit, gameplay shit, world shit, customization shit, campaign shit, missions shit, traversal shit, parkour shit. Now I'll talk about another one of my favorites, and that is Yakuza 0. It released in 2015 in Japan, then 2017 worldwide for the PS4, then 2018 for the PC, then 2020 for the Xbox One. It is a prequel to the original Yakuza 1, and it was developed by Ryuga Gotoku and published by Sega. It is a action-adventure beat-em-up game set in 1988, and it takes you back to the boom years of Japan. The game follows two men who in this prequel are far from the legends they eventually become. They are pulled into high-stakes conspiracy over a tiny, seemingly worthless plot of land in Tokyo called the Empty Lot, which is the key to a massive urban redevelopment project. You've got Kazuma Kiryu, who is a low-level Yakuza debt collector in Tokyo who is framed for a murder committed on that empty lot. He has to go rogue to clear his name and survive the internal power struggle of the Dojima clan. And you have Goro Majima, a disgraced Yakuza working as a cabaret club manager in Osaka under strict probation. He is offered a chance to return to the Yakuza life if he completes a dark final assassination mission, but he refuses and instead goes on the run to protect the target. And the writing in this game is nothing but legendary. The way both stories are incredibly connected even though Majima doesn't appear in Kiryu's story and vice versa. The character's development, the way you could love or hate a character so quickly. And the pacing is so good. As soon as you feel like you got too much of Kiryu, you change to Majima. And if you think you got too much of Majima, you change back to Kiryu. No character took the spotlight over the other, even though Kiryu is Yakuza's main protagonist. The game is set into two places, one in Tokyo, which is Kamurocho, and one in Osaka, which is Sotenbori. And both cities are filled with unique content for the characters. Truly one of the best games that implemented the dual protagonists and executed in one of the best ways ever. So these were some of the games that had dual protagonists that I played and tried, and honestly I had fun with most of them. So that's all I got today, and if you liked the video, I'd really appreciate you liking and subscribing. And oh shit, I forgot to finish my review about Syndicate. NPCs shit, horses shit, people shit, Ubisoft shit.